Now we turn our attention to the Deaflympics, which will be taking place in Japan in November. So we had a little look into the GB men and women's training regime in preparation to bring back gold.
Support each other with the weight of pass, yeah? Is he right or left? If he's left, I'll give him it to his left. Think about these things before we're playing. Help each other.
This weekend is one of our many training camp weekends that we have. We've been running these camps since October. From October to February, we had trials. We had started off with 107 players. We've whittled that down to 38. I need to cut another 8 players down to 30, so I've got until May to do that. So clearly, these camps are really important. It gives these players an opportunity to show their best selves, see how much I can imprint my coaching philosophy on them ahead of the Deaflympics.
I'm not celebrating that. That doesn't get you any brownie points. What did Ben say that we were looking for? Pressing. How do we press? That's what we're scoring on. That's what we want to see. Is forcing each other to lose the ball. It's like a goal. It's about pressing, okay? Also, if we've got good pressing and we've got good quality, JB's saying, it makes you have to pass quicker and pass better.
I'm Jack Thornton. I play striker, left wing, and I come from a Lincoln area.
My name is PJ Dolan. I'm from Scotland. I'm a forward, and I've been playing for GB since 2008.
Been new to deaf football this year. When I came to my first trial, didn't tell my dad to start off with. I was like, whoa, like what am I signing up for? And then I came to my first trial and absolutely loved it because the deaf community is so inclusive. So I'm really looking forward to every time I come to a camp weekend. It's very different to where I'm from because I'm the only deaf lad around like my area.
We're a very small community as deaf people, so we're very close, it's very close-knit, and we treat each other like brothers. Whether they're new faces or old faces or young, we treat each other as brothers. It's highly passionate. With these guys, I think this is the strongest setup I've seen. In previous setups, you've always been able to pick the team easily, but here, really, really tough. I trust the coaching team, I trust this setup to bring the gold home.
My name's Mandy, my surname is Mandy. In GB I play right back or winger, and this will be my 3rd Deaflympics.
The captain today is going to be Mandy, because you've been there for such a long time. We need your leadership, we need you to support the team going forward. Okay, so well done.
The first one was in Bulgaria, 2013. We won bronze medal. That was an amazing experience, and that was my first ever Deaflympics, so it's one of the best memories that I have. Second one was in Turkey. Unfortunately, we lost against Brazil. We didn't get a medal at all. So this one coming up in Japan is a real big thing, and it's going to be my last Deaflympics, so I'm really excited for it.
We need to be playing at your best ability and don't give up. Keep going, keep your heads up, communicate, and the most important thing is just to enjoy the game.
I come from a deaf family. I've got deaf parents and I've got deaf siblings, and I've been involved with deaf football all my life. I used to go and watch deaf football. My dad taught me football, and I've been part of the deaf community for a long time. My daughter's also deaf, so I am a deaf role model for her now, and it's going to carry on, you know, in the generation. So deaf community is massive for me.
I'm quite new to deaf football. I'm from a fully hearing family. The reason that I'm deaf is I was born prematurely, and the antibiotics that were given to treat my my conditions when I was born caused me to have a delayed hearing loss. So I didn't actually lose my hearing until I was about 2 or 3 years old, and I got my hearing aid when I was 4. And yeah, I didn't really know any deaf people. When I went to high school, there was a hearing aid department, or a hearing support department, should I say. So there was like a handful of deaf students there. But in football, I've never ever played with other deaf players. I've always played in a hearing team. I work as a physiotherapist, and one of my patients that I was treating was involved in deaf football. So he told me about some upcoming trials for the England team and gave me the details, and I went along, and that's how it all started. But I was 29 at the time, and it was the first time I'd ever heard of deaf football. And I was a little bit gutted that I hadn't found out about it earlier, but I am really grateful for it now, because the team that I've joined in with, they're a great bunch of girls, and yeah, I feel really privileged to be part of that. I feel like I've really developed a deaf identity since coming into deaf football, actually. I've become a lot more confident in like advocating the fact that I'm deaf, explaining to people that I'm deaf, and I've almost become a little bit more proud of the fact that I'm deaf, whereas before I used to kind of like shy away from it, or you know, I've been a bit sort of embarrassed about it, I guess. But when I'm with these girls, they've given me a lot more confidence to be proud of the fact that I'm deaf. And the fact that I can turn around and say I've played for England and Great Britain deaf football team, I feel like that's helped give me a bit of identity in that respect.
The Deaflympics is the absolute pinnacle, and we have to think as well, for a deaf child from the age of 5 or 6, they're potentially going to mainstream schools, and what's their experience of competitive environments? What do they want to achieve? For them, if they're looking up to deaf role models who've been to the Deaflympics, they will want to achieve the same things. And there are deaf children out there who need those role models, who need that spirit. And that is really where the journey starts.
For me, I found my happy place through football. It was a little bit of an escape for me, somewhere I could switch off, but funding isn't a switch off. You know, we have to constantly think about wanting to go, but how we're going to get there, so that does impact the team. We've constantly got that annoyance at the back of our head that we want to go to training and we want to commit to that, but we don't know if we're actually going to be able to get to the tournament.
I have to say I'm really disappointed that I have to talk about funding. Every single training camp I have to talk to the players about their fundraising progress. I have to talk to those who are falling behind. I have to engage with them on ideas as to what they might do as a fundraising opportunity. I want to be talking to them about their fitness levels. I want to be talking to them about their game. I want to be talking about personalised training plans. But ultimately, none of that will matter if we can't get there. And we can't get there if we don't have the funding. So there are other countries that have that funding in place that are focused fully on just how they're going to play. And my frustration is I feel that we are always a step behind everyone else. But that being said, we have won 6 gold medals. We are number 1 in the world when it comes to deaf football, but we have that funding difficulty. Having said all of that, we are working 100% to bring that gold medal home.
When you make a donation, it makes a huge difference for these players, because we're going there to play football, and we're going there to bring home a gold medal and to bring our deaf community together in pride for their achievement, and for them in turn to pass these achievements on to younger players. So if you're watching, please do donate. It makes an incredible difference.
Amazing.
Really excited to see how teams progress in the Deaflympics.
You know, you've been to the Deaflympics before. Are you quite confident?
Yes, I think they're well prepared this time.
Glenn, are you aware of the Deaflympics?
I've got to say, to be honest, I wasn't, no. I actually wasn't. So it's lovely to hear that there's going to be Olympics, yeah. I will look out for it now, definitely.
It's actually older than the Paralympics, so it was set up in 1924. So this year will be the 100-year celebration in Japan. Earlier this season, we interviewed John Barnes, and he spoke to us about a training session where players weren't allowed to talk to each other, just to improve their communication tactics. Is this something you experienced as a player? Yeah,
I did it as a manager. I used it quite a lot in all my teams, actually. We would have 5 minutes where you weren't allowed to shout for the ball. And the idea of that is to make them realise how communication is so important. So you take it away. It's a bit like the car. When you take your car away, you take it for granted. Suddenly your car's gone. You've got to get the train, you've got to get the bus, you've got to walk. You take it for granted. And the same thing, because players don't communicate enough for me, particularly in this day and age. So you take that away from it, and it was very interesting. Players found it frustrating, and they were clapping to get the ball, and if they shouted, they lose possession. There was a free kick the other way. So I did that with every club that I managed, actually, and it made the players think.
It's like coming along and not having a language, you know, and trying to manage that communication in a different way with gestures, etc. But make sure you keep an eye on the Deaflympics.